Okay, Matt Gillespie is taking care of faculty and graduate affairs, which means that the promotions process falls into his full bucket of responsibility. So Matt, over to you.
Okay, I'm going to pick up on that last question, which we just had. But the first one I want to do is, how many jobs? I just want you to show hands. Have you applied for? Less than 5. How many people have applied for less than 5 jobs in their life? Less than 10. Okay, so you're actually pretty good. If I ask that question usually to people who are applying for fellowships, I get a resounding less than 5 jobs. This is a job application. So you've got to give it that time to really think about it and put the time investment into that position. And I really do want to say that to people. The other one, I actually want to flip back to Lucy's slide because I think it is a really important one. And that was about the relative to opportunity. I was involved at the National Health Medical Research Council of coming back with their guidelines about career disruption, which was maternity leave, illness and carers leave, and relative to opportunity. That's where we distilled it. We distilled that a couple of years ago, probably about 10 years. The biggest issue was how people presented their case about a career disruption and about relative opportunity. There were some good examples and some outstandingly poor examples of it. The next level was, how do the panels interpret it? And that was something we hadn't really thought about sufficiently well. We thought that if everybody provided their case, that the panels would actually understand what the issues were. So in other words, you've got to provide a compelling case of, I've had a career disruption or a career interruption, whatever you like to call it. What was the impact of it? What did you miss out on? How you could go back further into your career. I know in the Faculty of Medicine, where I've come from, when we look at it, the metrics, we will end up going further back. So if you had a 0.5 EFT load last year, you'd go back 2 years. Trying to manage out there for that 3 years or how long it was since your last time of promotion. So again, look at that information. What were the issues that you confronted by having a child? If I use that example, I couldn't attend conferences. You had conference invites. Put it down there. The other thing to me, anyone who's had a conference invite and they were unable to attend, you offer it on to someone else. There's your leadership role, mentoring. I couldn't do it, I provided someone else and built their career. It's a win-win case for saying, here's my disruption, and yet again, I was actually shown that I was a leader by actually promoting someone else's career. So I want you to think about that, and I'm sure Sharon is going to delve further into that relative opportunity. Let's go about the academic framework. There's really research, education and engagement. These are all based on evidence. So think about that. Whatever case you provide, it must be an evidence-based case. So in other words, anything that you say, think about how can I substantiate that with evidence. So that's the main one that I'd really like you to get there. Everyone's going to talk about the metrics, and I'll leave Anthea to think about and discuss about research, education, engagement and what splits you put on each of those. I'm really going to talk about the timing for promotion. Use your performance reviews. One thing that I am going to look at the moment, I've already started with HR, is to look at performance reviews across the university, by faculty, by schools, by departments. How many people actually do them, actually lodge the performance review? 2, how many supervisors actually look at it? 3, goals. 4, supervisors looking at it, because I don't think it's that high. And again, that's where a big issue is, that it does happen in professional staff, but not so much in the academics. So I think that that's what we've really got to look at there. Ask the question, the specific question is, if I applied for promotion to your supervisor, ADR, ADE, Dean, would you support my application? Really have that conversation. A lot of people will say, yes, I asked the question, I got told I wouldn't be supported, but they went ahead and applied, some successfully, some unsuccessfully. But really ask, if you were saying, I was not going to be supported, why don't you support me? What do I need to do differently? Don't think about the standard cop-out. If you had 2 more papers, that'd be a good answer. It's got to be more than that. think about how you can advance it. The other thing is you get to time your promotion. It's not like a job interview per se. You're not waiting for it. You've got to think ahead of the game. What do I need to do? What are my gaps in my CV? What's my gaps in my promotion capability? One that I talk a lot about to people applying for NHMRC fellowships is thinking about getting on editorial boards. Everyone just sits there and waits. If you review a lot for a particular journal, write to them. I've reviewed 30 papers for your journal. You value me as a reviewer, you must value me on your editorial board. If you don't ask, you don't get. It's that simple. If you're waiting for everybody to pick you out amongst all the other people, you may be waiting a long time. Again, if you're involved in conference organisation, I always say to people, get involved on the program organising committee, the ones that actually get the speakers into the country, because you normally get a reciprocal invite back. Don't get involved in a local organising committee because you find it's a lot of time, it invests a lot of energy without much reward. Provide time into your application process and subsequently to interview. If I pick up the interview, those who apply for Level E, I want to hold the mock interview later in the year to actually get people to prepare for interview so that you know what you're going to be confronted with. The 30 seconds or 90 seconds opening remit, how to answer questions, what are the values that you really want to pull out, because a lot of people really do suffer in the interview situation. Time into your application. Know when's a good time. Don't try and leave it after you put the kids to bed at night. At 10 o'clock at night, I'm exhausted and I've got to start thinking about it. Jot down the dot points now, start filling it out. Spend your time on it. It is a crucial thing for you. Metrics and case. Everyone looks at the metrics, and promotion is not a reward, but it's an award. So your past metrics indicate your sustained performance at your current level. That's what you get asked for. So don't think about just hitting the metrics in a given year. It's a sustained performance that you've got to be looking at, and that's what the case particularly asks for. And I'm going to drag your attention to these little flashcards here. They're brilliant. They give you the prompters of what you should be looking at. The second thing is your for the future. Ability to perform at the next level is your case and then your metrics. So Mark said it. My first question to everybody is, what is the biggest unmet need in the area of your research or education? Next question is, what are you doing about it? You've got to bring that out in the first part of the whole application to show your relevance in there. For those of you in STEM, and I'm sure it'll happen a lot and has, but particularly happens in STEM, when we write publications, it's we, it's our, it's what we did together. You've got to strip that language out of your application and start saying, I as a leader. I brought these collaborators to the table. I saw the opportunity to go to this group. My laboratory, my team have put this at the forefront of the application. So if you see our, and I do this a lot with people's fellowships, I will just highlight our we's on the page, and I can remember sending one page back to someone with 25 ours and we's on there. So you end up saying, what are you actually leading? Because I don't know who the leader is. So in other words, those are the simple things. I don't want to delve too much more into it because of time, but those are the things I think you've got to think about. Put yourself into a non-discipline expert panel. You've got to create what is important to your field, what are you doing about it, and you can show that you've got the team around you or the leadership capabilities in the education remit to espouse values and show that you're going to have a difference. Both the Vice-Chancellor and Mark indicated that we're invested in you. If you show the ability to excel, that's benefit for you, benefit for your department, benefit for the faculty and for the university. So that's what you've got to think about. Really, that engagement side is benefit to the university, and I know I haven't touched on that too much, and I should have, but it's what you can do outside of your normal department, school, their engagement, but also can you engage better at the faculty or inter-faculties, offer your services up to another faculty. get involved in other committees, get involved outside of the university. And again, this is a discussion point that you'd have with heads of departments, heads of school. What are the opportunities that you may be able to leverage me in or point me in the direction of? And I think that that's something we've all got to do better and really try to promote people to get outside. Why is it great? You end up getting to know different people, different ways of people thinking, their points of influence. For me, I'm going to say now, I'm on National Health and Medical Research Council Audit Committee. I'm not an actuary, I'm not finance, but I've been on there for 13 years. And I still stay on there because I bring in the points of interest for the committee, but I get to deal with the Australian National Audit Office, KPMG, Ernst Young, and different individuals. It's a wealth of knowledge that you would pay an enormous amount of money for to go through that coursework. I'm going to leave it there, Sharon.